Hey guys, so my name's Marraki, but a lot of people do call me Maz. I'm in Year 11 at St. Joseph's Regional College. Okay, that was pretty weak. So I'll give my old school a crack. McKillop College. So I was born and raised in Port Macquarie. And at the moment I live between Port Macquarie and Kempsey. So I've always been in the Catholic primary school system. And as part of that, I did my sacraments just like most other people. But I didn't really understand what they meant or what I was actually doing. I kind of just did them because they were the things that people did. It's what everyone just got told to do. And because of that, I never really practiced my faith. And I didn't know much about Jesus. All I knew was the narrow perspective that was given to us in the religion classes. But despite that, I still respected Mass a lot. Like, I would always sit there and listen, but not because I wanted to listen, but because I felt I didn't want to take away from someone who was 3 seats down that did want to listen. But at this time, I didn't have a very high self-esteem. I was actually bullied quite a bit, and I still remember going home thinking that I was worth no more than dirt. I did have friends at this time, but my friends never really had my back like I had theirs, and I just didn't feel valued by them. And I hoped that this would change as I moved into high school. But it didn't. It did get better. I wasn't bullied as much, and I did have more friends, but I still didn't feel valued. And it stayed like that until the end of Year 8, when I got invited to come to this Proclaim Lismore event called Festa Christi, which, if you don't know, it's just a 2-day event where you meet up with a whole heap of people, and it was really good for me. I actually had heaps of fun, and I decided to apply for this class called the CSYMA class, which all of you know because you're all in the CSYMA class. So I jumped ahead to the first day of Year 9. And I walk into my RE class and sit down with a couple of my mates, because, you know, it's what you do. And then this random guy walks in the door. I didn't know who he was. I just knew that he wasn't a student because he wasn't wearing a school uniform. But he also was way too young to be a teacher. So I was like, you know what? I'll just leave it. He'll probably work, he'll tell us who he is soon. But then he came and sat next to me. And I was like, you know what? I'll just leave it. If he starts to talk to me, I'll talk to him. Be nice. Just what you do. He did actually talk to me. He said his name was Zach Parnell. And it was just something about him that kind of drew me towards him. There's really two things. I got these really chilled, soothing vibes from him, which was actually something that I'd never really felt before. And the other one is that, and if you've ever met Zach, you will definitely agree, he does look a little bit like Thor before his haircut. So throughout the first 6 months of Year 9, we got to know each other pretty well. And eventually he invited me to this youth group. It's called Encounter. At first I was a bit hesitant to go, but then one night I was like, you know what, I'll go. If I don't like it, I just won't go again. So I go along, and I still remember what the theme of the first night was. It was leadership. And I remember one of the activities, and I'm pretty sure this turned into the reflection, was that we had to list the qualities of a leader that we thought that we had in ourselves and the ones that we thought we needed from God. And now, because I didn't have high self-esteem, I remember the first column of what I had about this much in it. The second column had about a page worth of things in it. And that's just because I didn't think very highly of myself. But then Zach again comes over and sits with me. He didn't we didn't pray, we just had a chat. And he had a look at my list and was like, no, this is wrong. You have so many of these qualities in the second column that should be in the first one. And one of them I still remember was leading by example. He said to me, if you didn't have that quality, you wouldn't be here right now, because that's what it means to be a leader. And I don't know, it was something about that moment and those words that made me feel valued. And that was something that I never really had before. But looking back on it, I realized it wasn't Zach actually valuing me. It was Jesus through Zach. And it was in that moment that I just became fascinated by Jesus. My curiosity grew, and it felt like a weight that had been sitting on my shoulders since I was in primary school had finally been lifted. And because of that, I kept going to Encounter. I actually started going to in-school youth groups. And I actually started going to Mass, which was crazy because I remember, if you were to tell me 3 years ago that I would be going to Mass willingly, I would have said, no, you are crazy, leave. But what drew me back most was the fact that in Encounter, I'd actually found a family that loved me. So that's my story. But there's just something else I want to talk to you guys about. So I feel like there's this misunderstanding that to believe in God, you have to have some big conversion story. But that's not true. It's really not. All you have to do is the sign of the cross, and then chat to Jesus as you would with a mate. Because that's all he wants to be. He just wants to be your friend. He just wants to be your friend. Or if you don't want to do that, or you're not confident enough to do that, go to youth groups. Even go to Mass. So I challenge you guys, when you go home, ask your YMOs all your questions. No matter what they are, no matter how stupid or insane you think they are, ask them. Because we're all at different stages, and it's almost a guarantee that someone out there is asking the exact same question as you. But for now, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the Shrine. Make sure you guys do throw yourself into it, even if you didn't last night. Get involved, stand up, do whatever you think you need to do. Thank you guys for listening.